This is Mrs. Summers with her cat, Jackie. She's been worried for a while because Jackie's health seems to have deteriorated recently. It's almost as if the poor thing is getting slower. But her appetite is still good. Why is she thirsty all day? She keeps drinking all the time and weeing in her box, but also in the garden.
Hello, Mrs. Summers. Pop the cat down on the table. Nice to meet you.
And you?
Right, let's take her out of the basket. Yes, that's fine. Now, I understand she's been drinking a lot more and urinating a lot more and has become rather lethargic.
That's right.
I see that her coat has become rather dull, and this group of symptoms could be the result of diabetes. And I would like to take a blood and a urine sample today to be sure of this diagnosis.
Food that people or animals eat is broken down in the stomach first and then digested in the small intestine, where it's absorbed to be used in the body. One of the substances absorbed is glucose, a kind of sugar. Glucose is an important source of energy for the body and enters the muscle and organ cells via the blood. Most cells only absorb glucose with the use of a hormone, insulin. Insulin is produced in the pancreas. When the pancreas produces an insufficient amount of insulin, the cells do not receive enough glucose, and too much glucose remains in the blood. In that case, the kidneys get too high a dose of glucose. They cannot retain the glucose and exude it to the urine. As a result, the animal has to urinate more, which in turn makes it thirstier, so it'll drink more. Because glucose is lost, the body cells do not receive enough fuel, that is, not enough energy, and as a result, the animal starts to eat more. This does not solve the problem, so the animal still loses weight often, and its condition will continue to deteriorate. Basically, therefore, diabetes is caused by a lack of insulin. Thankfully, we have a treatment for this. We can administer an insulin preparation.
Now, these symptoms in an older cat could be caused by other diseases, such as kidney failure or an overactive thyroid. Now, the first test we want to do is on a urine sample, and I believe you have a sample for me.
There you go.
This is a quick and simple test for the presence of glucose in the urine. If it is positive for glucose, then we shall wish to take a small blood sample as well to confirm the diagnosis. and then we observe for colour change. Now we've found a positive glucose on the urine test, we need to take a small drop of blood to test for its blood glucose level. This we do by making a small needle prick behind the ear with a very fine needle. We then take a strip and soak up the blood before testing it in this blood glucose meter. Into the meter, and then we await the result. Now the result is 23.7 millimoles per litre, and this confirms the diagnosis of diabetes. To treat diabetes, we need to administer insulin. We're going to use Caninsulin, which is specially prepared and developed for use in dogs and cats. It's important to inject twice daily at 12-hourly intervals. This might seem a worrying procedure for you to do, but it is really very simple, and we use a very, very fine needle which the cat will hardly feel. I will first show you how to draw the insulin into the syringe. Remove the bottle of insulin from the fridge where it is kept. First take the bottle out of its package and gently rotate to mix the solution. By turning the bottle upside down, remove the syringe guard and pierce the rubber and withdraw insulin into the syringe. Then gently flick the syringe to remove any air bubbles and then advance the plunger. If there's any air bubbles remaining, flick again, withdraw a little bit more syringe, and then make sure that the plunger is level with the required dose. This is important. We're going to inject subcutaneously, that means under the skin and not into a muscle. We use a very fine needle which doesn't hurt the cat at all, and it's a very simple procedure. First, you tent up a little bit of skin from behind the neck. There's a small patch of skin behind this. Then introduce the needle at a slight angle to its full length. Release the skin, and then and only then depress the plunger and deliver the insulin under the skin, and then withdraw. See how easy that is. Once you've completed the injection, replace the bottle in its box, place it back in the refrigerator, making sure that it's always upright and not lying on its side.
The amount of Caninsulin that needs to be administered to your cat must be established carefully because the required dose is different for each animal. First, your vet will determine the number of insulin units that your cat should receive in theory on the basis of its weight. You will administer this starting dose to your cat for a specified period. Your vet will then examine how your cat reacts to this dose. During this checkup, your vet will measure the glucose level in the blood. The starting dose will then be adjusted on the basis of the results of the test. This will be the temporary daily dose of insulin. You will administer this dose to your cat for a week, after which your vet will reassess your cat's response to this new dose. These tests must be repeated until the exact dose has been established for your cat. Usually, this does not take more than a few weeks. Sometimes it may be necessary to leave the cat in an animal hospital for 24 hours. This allows your vet to take blood samples every 2 hours to determine the glucose level. In this way, it's possible to get a clear picture of the blood sugar level over the course of a day. Once the dose has been established, you can check the exact sugar level regularly at home, because the need for insulin may change over time. It's quite easy to collect urine. Just use fine aquarium gravel or polystyrene beads in the cat tray instead of normal cat litter. Do this 3 times a day and use the urine stick for it. Of course, you will need to replace the gravel or beads with new material afterwards. It's important that the results are recorded carefully so you can present them to your vet. You can record them on a special card that is supplied with a Caninsulin brochure. Examining the urine is useful, but it's not enough on its own. It is essential that the blood sugar level is regularly and carefully examined by your vet.
Once your cat has been stabilised on Caninsulin, the excessive thirst and hunger should disappear. Coat and body condition should return to normal, and life quality should return to normal, or there might even be a full recovery. It is important to continue to test blood and urine and consult your vet about the results. There may be a need to adjust the dose of insulin. The amount of Caninsulin your cat needs depends on the daily amount of sugar required for energy. It is important to stick to regular feeding and regular activity levels. Most cats feed small amounts by themselves all day long. The composition of the food should remain constant. If your cat has a tendency to put on weight, you should restrict to 4 small meals a day. Too much activity, excitement or stress can lead to a low blood glucose situation, something we term hypoglycemia. The symptoms of this include trembling, loss of balance, and in serious cases, loss of consciousness. If this should happen, you should keep at home some glucose powder or use honey. Here's a solution of glucose and water. And by drawing some into the syringe, you should dose some into the cat's mouth, small quantities at a time. This will rapidly get absorbed into the bloodstream and reverse the hypoglycemic state. For this reason, you should always keep some glucose powder stored at home.
All in all, we may conclude, thankfully, that cats suffering from diabetes can lead a more or less normal life when they respond well to Caninsulin and you maintain a regular daily routine. You and your pet can continue to get the most out of each other's company.